Hey everyone, Myth here, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS, and now comes the time to confront Bodhi. And that is a very notable encounter, especially with SCS, because the mod offers a few variations to the component that upgrades her, and of course I have the toughest one installed, which improves her quite a lot and makes a big difference, so we certainly have to prepare for this fight. And once again we're going to use the strategy in which Senashira becomes Desotroya. And you know, I think this is going to be my name for this type of tactic in Baldur's Gate 2. Because in Baldur's Gate 1 we had Armageddon tactics, and in Baldur's Gate 2 we're going to have the Desotroya strategy, or the Desotroya form that Senashira is going to assume, which is of course the tactic that revolves around buffing up one character, both protectively and offensively to a great extent, so that for a limited amount of time they can become the Grim Reaper, you know, the Lord of the Harvest, or Lady of the Harvest in our case, so that they can be effective in combat and protected against most or everything that the opposition can throw at us. And to that effect, we're going to make Senashira immune to both fire and cold, and I'm going to explain all of these choices once we get to discussing Bodhi's abilities. And I'm going to apply these scrolls first, because they last 12 hours. And not that it matters much here, but it's just a good habit to develop and keep, to always go through your buffs in the order from the longest lasting ones. So now we're going to apply stone skins. And also Edwin, he was drained 2 levels, but fortunately he was able to retain his very important protection from magical energy buff, which she's going to apply to Senashira. And Senashira right now is 50% resistant to fire and cold, but the remaining 50% she's going to get from the 2 fire shields that she's going to apply soon. But right now we're going to have her drink a potion of heroism and a potion, or apply an oil of speed, just to make her more effective in the fight. Also I might switch these boots of speed on Animan so he can get away quickly once he is done with what he needs to do. And now we're going to go with a blur and some mirror images. Also improved invisibility. And the 2 fire shields. That's why I memorized the fire shield blue on Senashira, and the other one we can get from the staff. And one thing that's good about this encounter is that fortunately we don't have to worry about protecting our buffs. We're not going to be facing against any dispelling abilities, any remove magics or dispel magics, nothing like that. And now we are going to have a very nice looking purple shield. And I think we're ready. We're just going to wait a couple of seconds so that Senashira can cast immediately once this encounter starts. But here, now we have this coffin available. We can like strike the stake at the heart of LaSalle, I guess, and Bodhi is going to appear.
I had hoped it would not come to this, but you are setting your path, aren't you?
Well, it's a job I must do. Destroying you is just a bonus. So she's going to have a little conversation with us. When first she's going to try to talk about the Shadow Thieves a little bit and their motives. Tell me, have the Shadow Thieves done more than promise? Have they delivered anything? Or have they simply made certain you are always within reach? I imagine they are confused as to what their goals are. Have they, or I think it should be you are confused as to what their goals are. Have they said why they sought your service? Why they offered to help you? Or actually the other dialogue options was better, that we don't really care about their motives as long as we get what we want out of them. We get their help in you know, helping us find Imoen. But anyway, she always has an appropriate response to our dialogue option there. Yeah, gold is never in short supply for long. Service? Possibly. But there are others that would serve as well. Yeah, do they really? When it comes to their honesty? Are you certain? What if their interest in you was more than simple mercenary? What if they know full well who you are, and what you are? You look surprised. I know what you are, child of Baal. Irenicus told me. You might have learned more, awakened your power, but the thieves interrupted him. So what do you know about Irenicus? I know more than your brain could hold in a lifetime. There is so much beneath your nose, so much you do not see. Why, even Imoen escaped your notice. And in here she does not mean that Imoen was taken from us, but she means something else, something that we have yet to learn about Imoen. Yeah, so now she grows tired of this. This is a pretty good line. Good, I am so sick of wordy opponents. Yeah, actually, let's use this one. And yeah, in this version of her, she is not going to be at her full powers. As you will see, this is not our last encounter with Bodhi, and when we meet her later, she basically is going to be her like incarnation from the Tactics mod. But here, still, she has a lot of these Grim Warders that don't really matter too much. And when it comes to Bodhi herself, she is upgraded a lot. She is basically a level 25 fighter thief with like some really good stats. Like she has 24 strength, for example. She has over 200 HP. Has great armor class. I think she has 5 attacks per round. She has 75% magical resistance, and we're not going to, of course, go the route of lowering her magical resistance and whatnot. She is immune to cold and electricity and has 25% physical damage resistance. She requires a +3 weapon to damage her. And she also has a couple of abilities. As you can see, she has this Death Shroud, which right now is like an easier version. This is basically like a Fire Shield Blue that deals cold damage once we hit her. But later on she's going to have a proper Death Shroud, a very damaging one. Then she has that kind of a Deathly Touch AoE spell that deals magical damage. That's why we have protection from magical energy. Then she has a sleep spell, and so we still have our chaotic commands active. And then her Drink Blood actually drains 5 constitution per use, and she actually drains 5 levels per hit. So that's why we only have Senashira here, pre-buffed as she is, and we are going to only have Hanuman cast a Firestorm inside the room, which is going to stay for a while, of course. And you know, again, it's very useful because it bypasses magic resistance, so it's going to deal damage to her nicely, and we're going to also take advantage of the fact that she has 0 fire resistance. So this should add quite a bit of damage, but other than that, of course, Senashira is going to be the main damage dealer, and apparently I have not changed her script back to none after fighting LaSalle. Alright, so finally she approaches, and I'm going to already cast Protection from Magical Weapons. Again, we have 3 uses of that to protect ourselves against a lot of her tricks. Yeah, so we actually are dealing some damage back to her with our Fire Shield. She is immune to cold, of course, and she is not dealing any damage to us because she would be reflecting cold damage onto us, but we are immune to cold, of course. Alright, now Animan, just get out of there, not to incentivize her, even for a moment, to switch attention from Senashira to you. Yeah, that was that Deathly Shroud, and or maybe it's Touch of Death, and Deathly Shroud is of course her Fire Shield here. Touch of Death is actually that magic damage spell, but of course we're immune to that. And here I'm going to try to pay attention to our protection from magical weapons buff to reapply it very quickly. Right, she's badly injured already, and now we have to reapply it.
Well, that certainly was educational. I have seen enough, and I am done with you for now.
So this went pretty well and pretty quick, actually. Yeah, so unfortunately she escapes and just vanishes. And we're just going to get rid of these guys, and we can have the rest of our party come in now that this firestorm has expired. and just help with some damage.
I am ready.
What is it? Speak.
Alright, so we have dealt with this whole rival guild here. And before we report to the Shadow Thieves and actually progress to the next chapter, we have quite a few different loose ties to take care of. And in this episode we should have time to do some of them. First we can level up Keldorn. And he gets a proficiency point, and it really doesn't matter. We can give him 1 into axes, so that thrown axes can be his ranged option. But actually, speaking of Keldorn and of loose ties, or loose ends, I should say, not loose ties, we need to do his personal quest now. And at the end of which we are actually going to let him go.
If it must be done.
Anyway, for his quest to trigger, we need to go to the government district.
Oh, to taste the airs of home. It has been a long time since I have passed this way.
So yeah, of course, he is very preoccupied with different activities of the Order, but he actually has a home here. And he mentions that he has a wife and 2 daughters, and that he could introduce us. So let's go there.
Will be done.
So here's the Firecam estate. That is his home.
Ah, here at long last is my estate. The servants have tended to it well this past while.
What is it?
Yes.
Duty calls, I see.
Well, old Keldorn, it has been well over a month since the last I saw your face. Her name is Peony. Peony. Like a peon. Yeah, so she's going to go to tell Lady Maria that he is home, but seems like not everything is right here. I have this strange feeling how everything is working out here.
Ah, my sweet Vesper. How is your schoolwork coming? The priests are still kind to you for my sake?
Yes, father. Good, good. So yeah, the kids don't seem to be particularly happy to see Keldorn. Yeah, can we go now?
Who are these? Heathen you converted in Kalimport? Traveling pilgrims you stumbled across in Saradush?
Maria, this is Senashira. We are searching for her childhood companion who... I don't care, Keldorn. It has been 2 months since you were here last, and then it was barely for a day. Not even enough to leave your scent about this place. The work of the Order must be done, Maria. You know, if I had my choice, I would be here. Would you? Would you really? The guild house is right here in the city, but even then I never see you. It's always Radiant Heart this, Radiant Heart that. So it's like he barely stepped inside the house, and he's doing, you know, good work as a paladin, and he already like receives this kind of attitude from her.
What about me? What about my heart, Keldorn? What if I don't love you anymore?
Maria!
Maria. What if the girls can't live without a father anymore? What if I can't live without a husband? So yeah, of course they are going to profess their love for each other. Yeah, Maria apparently also loves him in the same fashion, with all her heart. What could ever come between us? Well, apparently your absence. I've been seeing another man. Whoa! The children and their servants already know. He took the girls out to the circus twice. Oh, Keldorn. You what? What is his name? Sir William of Thorpe, I beg of you, don't hurt him, Keldorn. If I can't have you, at least let me have something. I mean, this is bad. Well, yep. Explains the law here, I guess. Yeah, to look at you right now, Maria, to look at you is to go mad.
Curse the dictates of honor. Oh, the very gods demand that I bring this case before the courts. So William shall be hung, and the love of my entire life imprisoned. There is no other outcome.
So yeah, and indeed, things are not right in his home. Very, very unfortunate, very awkward introduction there. But anyway, here we can indeed support his choice in like reporting this to the authorities, and then we can meet him later in the Order of the Radiant Heart, and of course he's going to be pretty crushed, pretty, you know, disappointed, devastated. But, you know, it is an ending to his quest, although a bad ending, of course. And a better one would be to actually confront Sir William and see what he has to say about the matter. Apparently a good man, establishing some trade in Athkatla. Yeah, staying at Mithrest. So let's head to the Mithrest Inn right now and see what's up. With Keldorn's unfaithful wife.
Certainly.
Anyway, here's Sir William.
My time is quick, so be brief, commoner.
I was hoping you would come, Milord Keldorn. I was a husband to your wife and a father to your children, if that is what you mean. Yeah, so, of course, that answer does not sit well with Keldorn. They yearn for a father, any father, even an impostor of the streets in your stead. Be to them in your compassion what you are to them in blood, Keldorn. So says the viper who will sleep in my bed, running his wretched fingers through the spun gold that is her hair. What do you wish, Sir William? To have a child that is not even yours? Unlikely. I have been a spent wick for many years. We sought some beauty in the midst of all her pain. I wish I could say you would have done the same. What am I to do with you? You show no remorse, yet at the same time you are so devoid of malice. What am I to do at all? Lady Maria loves you deeply, but without expression, love withers and dies. I was but a single drop of moisture. Well, this is not the most fortunate choice of words here. You are the oasis for which she searches. Love her, and I will be but wind-borne dust. Are you asking for my forgiveness? I am not fool enough to ask for that, my lord. I'd much rather think that someday you will thank me. I once believed that with age would come wisdom, but every day I seem to doubt it more. Much as it pains me to admit it, Sir William is right. It is time I spoke with my wife. And here we can let him to do it alone, or we can come with him, or we can actually release him from our service already, but we're going to go with him. That's going to be a little more satisfying, I think. And is going to give us a chance to actually get Keldorn's equipment, because this is the point where we're going to remove him from our party, of course, and let him stay with his family. And this is like a really satisfying, like a wholesome conclusion. Unfortunately, we didn't have another wholesome banter between Anomen and Keldorn, when Anomen again like thanks Keldorn for everything, for his patience and stuff. So it's pretty nice. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But anyway, we can get some stuff from Keldorn now. Well, let's just do it right like that for now. And of course leave him his equipment. This we can stash in our bag of holding. Yeah, we're going to need his special sword he can keep as well. Oh yeah, the stuff we need to sell. I guess Senashira, Jahira is going to have that. Alright, this belt. The gloves. Yeah, Animan is going to be the keeper of helmets, I guess. And he still had that ring of regen. Alright, that is going to be it.
Speak, yes?
And now we can head on inside.
If it must be done.
Yes, so be it.
Honey, I'm home.
You live. Am I to read from such a fact that Sir William now lies dead?
Nay, my love, we both yet live. And perhaps each of us more fully than before.
Ah, so sweet. Keldorn, my love, so you will stay? And he turns to us, and normally you can give him a day, at least, to spend with his family, and then have him back. But we are actually going to, you know, like I said, release him so he can stay with his family, although actually he's going to disappear from the Shadows of Amn portion of the game, so, you know, that is a permanent decision. Yeah, so Lady Maria thanks us, and Keldorn normally also, he already thanked us for our friendship and, you know, for all that we have done for him, and now they're going to have some fun family time. And Keldorn is going to resume his father responsibilities after a while, apparently, and bond with his children in the circus. Alright, anyway. Next thing that we're going to do is actually we're going to progress the time a little bit, and also I would like to explain something about Watcher's Keep. We are going to visit there very briefly, but well, actually let's see the intro and then I'm going to explain my plan.
Rumors of ancient ruins and incredible treasures often reach the ears of the party as they travel the length of the Sword Coast. But no tale is so lucrative as that of Watcher's Keep. The ruin still stands, it is said, and a religious order known as the Knights of the Vigil have made a call wide and far for heroes to aid their dangerous cause. Details are scarce, and curiosity leads the party quickly to the glade of the keep itself, a deserted place that whispers in the wind of the most ancient evils.
This place has amazing music. It just makes you feel that sacred atmosphere of having a holy presence around. But anyway, here when it comes to Watcher's Keep, you know, of course we have heard rumors about these Knights of the Vigil needing some help. But Watcher's Keep is a Throne of Ball edition, and it generally fits Throne of Ball much better, in my opinion. And basically what we're going to do, I was kind of hesitant and debating, kind of thinking about what I should do now with Watcher's Keep, because the first level of Watcher's Keep fits Shadows of Amn well, and normally I do it before advancing to Chapter 4, but now I think since we are so far progressed, I think I'm going to wait for Imoen to actually do this level, because Imoen of course is going to be our final 6th party member, and basically my normal stance when it comes to Watcher's Keep is that doing the vast majority of it, you know, like doing the entirety actually of it in Shadows of Amn just kind of ruins the rest of the experience of this portion of the game, because going through Watcher's Keep you get so much experience and you get so many, you know, good items that when you come back it's just ruins the rest of the game, in my opinion. The rest of Shadows of Amn, at least, because you're way higher level, you have access to spells that you shouldn't really have access to yet, and all that stuff. Also, I still need to cast Restoration on Edwin. I can barely see that energy or that level drain icon on him. So actually, let's let's do that right now. I was afraid for a minute that we don't have restoration scrolls. And yeah, but talking more about Watcher's Keep, I feel the first level of Watcher's Keep fits Shadows of Am really nicely, and I usually do it like before progressing to Chapter 4, but it really depends on like the party you are going to have and even the mod setup, because there are like a couple of reasons to visit Watcher's Keep, the first level, early. Because there's a couple of goodies that are good for characters that are focused around ranged combat. If you have an archer dedicated to using bows or crossbows, you know, inside of the Watcher's Keep you can get basically unlimited +1 ammo through a quiver of plenty and through a bolt case of plenty. Then there's also an ammo belt inside, and from a vendor here you can buy a potion case. So if we didn't have that component from BG2 Tweaks that adds additional containers and, you know, adds these potion bags and that ammo belt, I would have visited here way earlier. And we also, like I said, don't have really a character that focuses on ranged combat like that, so we don't need to get the different you know, the additional ammo belt or the +1 unlimited ammo, or the Fire Tooth +4 crossbow that we can buy from here. And there's also some +3 ammo actually on level 1, so you can get that to be able to hit some certain creatures. So all in all, you know, this is a great place to visit early in certain circumstances, but for us we never really had a big reason to come here, and now I think we are so far along that I'm going to wait for Imoen to explore this level like more. We are just going to visit very quickly inside and just pick up a couple of those goodies that I've mentioned, but we're going to avoid getting a couple of different quest triggers that would give us quite a bit of personalized experience, and you know, we're basically going to avoid killing much stuff. We're just going to get some stuff,
Yes?
some things from the vendor here and from inside level 1, but this is not going to be the entirety of level 1. And generally, like I said, I'm just going to do level 1 in Shadows of Amn after we're back with Imoen, and I'm going to just scavenge some goodies from level 2, but I'm not going to like touch that level at all. I'm not going to open any of the doors and anything like that. We're not going to really advance through it, and basically the vast majority we're just going to the vast majority of Watcher's Keep, you know, all of the rest, all of the levels from 2 to, you know, the end, we're going to leave for Throne of Baal, actually, where I think this whole adventure fits way better.
Without doubt.
The child of Baal has come. We had hoped that our call for aid would draw you here. Praise to the Watcher for hearing our prayers.
Praise be to Helm. Yeah, these Knights of the Vigil are actually followers of Helm with a special duty that he has entrusted them with. Sister Garlena is the merchant here, a very important one. Yeah, Watcher's Keep is a long journey from any nearby settlement, and your trip could not have been an easy one. Yeah, so he's Brother Odrin, currently the leader of the Knights of the Vigil. We are a small sect that was given a most solemn charge by the Vigilant One, Helm himself. And a charge that they are unable to fulfill. Anomen has heard about them, apparently. Helm appeared to us during the time of troubles, when all gods but he walked Faerun as mortals. A great evil had been imprisoned, he said, and we were to be its keepers. Watcher's Keep, this ruin you see before you, was once a great prison for the most terrible foes of the gods. It was abandoned for many centuries, until Helm came to us with his news. The old prison would not hold this great evil for long, he said. Our order would have to maintain a vigil, to watch for the day when the evil would begin to break the great seals and escape. That day has come, Senashira. The great evil struggles within and has infected Watcher's Keep to the point where we cannot bypass the creatures and foul magic that blocks our path. It is our shame that we are too weak to get to the lower vaults and enact the ritual that will strengthen the old seals once again. Our need is obvious then. We need a group to enter the keep and descend to the lower vault so they may repair the mystic seals. So what kind of creature is imprisoned here? We do not know. Helm called it the Imprisoned One only, saying it was a being of great cunning and power, enough so that Helm himself was forced to deal with it. Yeah, no ordinary apparition. Praise be to Helm. So they are going to be, of course, overjoyed if we decide to help them. Also, one thing that I forgot to say about Watcher's Keep, it's kind of like the Durlag's Tower of Baldur's Gate 2, with many different levels, each being different, with some kind of different way to unlock the passage to the next one. There are going to be puzzles, there are going to be like really cool encounters, goodies, you know, a lot of experience to gain and stuff like that, which is, you know, good stuff, but I don't want to get all of this too early, and like I said, not to ruin the rest of the Shadows of Amn portion of the game.
Here, we are atop the ancient prison at last. Before us is the entrance into its first level, the first obstacle towards reaching the lower vault.
Yeah, we're going to need a holy symbol from Brother Paul, and he's also going to give us the ritual scroll to strengthen the seal that chains the imprisoned one. And yeah, Sister Garlena is going to be our merchant here.
Yes?
And yeah,
What is
so
it?
let's talk to Brother Paul already. Yeah, the holy symbol we need to like get inside and outside. Yeah, we're going to also get the scroll. Reaching the imprisoned one is the difficulty. Watcher's Keep was built many ages ago to contain great horrors that walked Faerun, but it was abandoned centuries before Helm restored its purpose. When Helm came to us, he asked half of our order to sacrifice themselves, to become spirits guarding the keep and adding to the ancient seals that were already in existence. The spirits will guard against all who enter. They cannot be reasoned with. Add to this the evil which has been drawn to this place by the infection of the imprisoned one. All these obstacles must be bypassed. When you finally reach the lowest level, yeah, we're going to basically, oh well, they want us to read the scroll, and apparently we don't need to be one of the Knights of the Vigil. The scroll is going to work anyway. Yeah, the first level is an ancient archive. Yeah, of course there's going to be clues inside. And he actually opposes the idea of killing the imprisoned one, if indeed he even can be killed. Helm has strictly forbidden us from even attempting, although I do not know why. Perhaps death too would be a form of freedom. And yeah, there are 5 levels. Of course, as always, feel free to pause and read everything in detail. And yeah, now we need everything we need to know. Sorry, now we know everything we need to know. And this is actually pretty good time-wise to end the episode here. And in the next one, we're going to venture forth and do a little bit of level 1. I initially planned to do the entirety of level 1 at some point before going to chapter 4, but like I said, now we are so far along the game that I'm just going to wait for Imoen to do most of it. But anyway, for now I thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.